Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sybil.
And don't you just love how I brought in our studio audience today? Those are my friends and family, y'all. They're here to clap it up and celebrate this great girlfriend magic that is happening here on the show. So without further ado, grab something great to drink, grab your pen and paper, and get ready for this week's episode. Enjoy. All right, Miss Linsey Davis, are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready. Let's do it. Great girlfriends, I'm so excited to welcome Linsey Davis to the show. Now, you probably already know who she is, but I'm going to fill you in just to give you a little background on my exciting guest today. She's a Christian wife, mom, Emmy Award winner, ABC News correspondent, and best-selling author. Linsey Davis is a correspondent for ABC News since 2007, where she's been filing reports for World News, Good Morning America, 2020, and Nightline. Linsey has received several honors for her reporting, including 2 Emmy Awards and a regional Edward R. Murrow Award. In addition, the Center for Leadership Development awarded her with the distinction of Up and Comer. I love that. Linsey earned her undergraduate degree in psychology from the University of Virginia and a Master of Arts degree in communications from New York University. She is a member of the National Association of Black Journalists. Linsey is a Christian wife, mother, and best-selling author of The World is Awake and One Big Heart. She is also a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And I love this beautiful new book, Stay This Way Forever. Hey, Linsey.
Hi, Sybil. Thanks so much for talking with me today.
I'm so happy to have you on. I have a gazillion and a half questions, right? A gazillion, okay?
Oh, all right. I'm ready. I have a gazillion and a half answers.
Good stuff. Linsey, how are you doing it all?
Oh, man. Well, I have this cape on my back and managed to kind of seamlessly switch from the various hats that I wear. But I'm having fun doing it, and I count myself, blessed.
Absolutely. I know as a woman wearing many hats and being called to many different places, there's the power of saying yes and the power of saying no. And I'm sure you've learned both.
I'm still working on the no,
Okay.
and I have to give it to a lot of persistent people, which I can appreciate and value their persistence. So quite often when I'll say, well, I can't make this work, and they'll say, well, how about next week? Or how about, they'll keep asking. And so, yes, I have to work on my no. But maybe that's coming.
Yeah, it's a muscle. You build it with time. You build it with time.
Yes.
Okay, Linsey, how old are your little ones?
So I just have one. I have a son, and he just turned 7.
He's at that beautiful age where that no muscle does get stronger. I assure you.
Yeah, he does hear no from me quite often, probably more often than he'd like. So he's a good practicing ground.
I love that. So tell me about the inspiration for this new book, Stay This Way Forever, which I have to tell you, the cover is just so sweet and it's very enchanting. And I'm excited to know more about the inspiration.
Sure. Yeah. So my son actually inspired me to write children's books in general. And then unbeknownst to him, he really has given me the theme of each of the 3 books so far. And really when I first started, I only anticipated this was just going to be a one-off. I was just going to do one book, but, I've had tremendous success with each book. And so we've, the publishers kept coming back and saying, hey, you want to do another? And my son always inspires with another idea. So the theme has ended up being love. The first book, The World is Awake, a celebration of everyday blessings, was really know that you're loved by God. The second book, One Big Heart, a celebration of being more alike than different, was really love your neighbors, love each other. And this book is really to children, know that you are loved, especially, by your parents, by your grandparents. And I hope that kids will come away knowing, just how much they're cherished and adored. And the parents are really going to have that. It will likely resonate with them. Anybody who's ever felt like, gosh, I just wish I could savor or pause or freeze this moment, because these different phases of childhood are so fleeting. And we try and kind of memorize these moments before they slip away. And so I think that it's going to really be fun and also empowering for kids to hear their parents read these words of love and affirmation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's so good. I think those two commandments, as I know them, are the foundation for, how we can even navigate this world that has just been so wild. Being loved and to spread that love to others, including your neighbors, those are like just two strong pillars that can really stabilize and help to, I don't know, self-soothe a bit as we navigate through
Sure.
phase two of COVID and all the
Yes.
cultural just uprisings that are happening in our country, et cetera. And also as parents, when we're starting to learn more about how to navigate parenthood. So, right. So I'm
Right.
sure, you have to remind yourself, be love. I am love, be love. And that very same message that we share with our kids. So I want to know, as a mom of a 7-year-old boy, what are some of the love messages that you've been able to, or that you've inherited, that you've been able to share with him, or that he's taking away now as a part of your household?
Sure. One thing that I feel that my parents were really effective in instilling in me was, a faith, a belief in God, and
Mhm.
instilling that the importance of that relationship. And so that I would say first and foremost is something that I am really trying to make sure is at the foundation of his young life as well. I also never felt like there was something I couldn't do. I think that my parents were really effective in communicating that if you work hard, if you really, dedicate and are steadfast, then you can make your dreams possible. And that's another thing that I really want him. I think it was Henry Ford who said, whether you think you can or you can't do something, you're right. And
Mhm.
so I think that it's so important to make sure that my son is aware of what he's capable of, and that hopefully will be without limitations. I think that that's really important.
Yeah. How important has it been for you, Lindsay, to, as you developed your mind and now as a woman, discover your unique qualities and make them sort of available as gifts to the world?
Oh wow. Well, I hope that the world sees it as gifts. I've really just always tried to just be true to, again, kind of the way that I grew up, which was to have a certain integrity and honesty and work ethic. And I think that I'm starting to really see the fruits of that
Mhm.
labor now, and showing up in so many ways and opportunities. And I'm grateful to be able to have a seat at the table, so to speak, and have a voice in this world, the crowded cacophony of noise that we hear with news, and also with the children's books. And I just feel like it's a privilege. It sometimes it can be considered a weight, right? Because there's a responsibility, a real responsibility that goes along with it. But I really see it as a gift.
Yeah. I think also, one of the things we learn as women who become wives and moms, that, motherhood expands you. It sort of,
Mm,
you just,
it really
when you
does.
think you thought you had a boundary, then comes another stage of motherhood that really, really opens you up in the most beautiful ways and sometimes frightening. But was author always on your list of things to be, do, or was that a motherhood gift?
That was a motherhood gift. I love how you put that. So
Yes.
when I was reading books to my son, and initially I thought, I could do this. And
Hmm.
then over time, that could became should. And I felt that as I was really having a difficult time, or had to be really intentional and deliberate in finding books that had pages that reflect my son,
Hmm.
for him to see black and brown images, I felt was just very important. And I read an essay a while ago. It was called Mirrors, Windows, and Sliding Glass Doors. And it talked about how children's books all need mirrors so that kids can see themselves reflected in the pages. They need windows so they can peer into a world that perhaps is unfamiliar to their own. And if
Hmm.
those windows are really to be transformative, they serve as sliding glass doors to basically transport them into that world. And so over time, I started feeling that rather than complain about the facts that there weren't a lot of children's books with, people of color as the main protagonist. And meanwhile, if you look at the US Census Bureau, half of the children in this country are children of color.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, there was a time anyway, this is a few years back, I'm sure it's improved since then, but the more than 90% of the protagonists in children's books were white. And so I just felt that it was really imperative that I be a part of the solution rather than just complain about how we don't have these books. I decided, let me be a part of it.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And also, that mirror glass and sliding doors is so true because we get to give kids who may not have a blueprint an imaginative story, right, of what could become or what their life can be and the stories they can share. And I love in this book, Stay This Way Forever, what I find is so enchanting is the languaging, is the peacefulness of the language. And there's a page in here. I want to make sure I read this because I thought it was so special. Your joyful songs, your belly laughs, the clever things you say are moments from this fairy tale I cherish every day. Like footprints tracked along the shore or flower blooms in May. I try to memorize those times before they slip away. Like that is just such a beautiful, we have those moments and I don't know if we always appreciate them, but that page reminds me, even with my 12-year-old son and my 9-year-old girl, sit in that moment, embrace it, share it, enjoy it, teach the power of it, because those are the things that we take forward. Those beautiful moments are what fuel us, they really do give us fuel.
Right. I feel like we have to really lean into that. And because you never know also when it's going to be the last time. When is the last time you're going to fall asleep in your lap or reach out for your hand to hold? Or, I think about the pitter patter of my son's feet before he jumps in, bed with us in the mornings on the weekends. And I really try to hold on and savor those moments because we know that they're fleeting, but at the same time, there are a lot of aspects of childhood that I hope he'll take with him as he becomes an adult, his creativity and his curiosity and his joy for life. There are many times at night when he'll tell me about his plans for the next day. And sometimes he'll say, it's going to be the best day ever. And he so earnestly believes that. And I hope that as a 40-year-old or 50-year-old, he's still talking about the promise of tomorrow, really, and how it's so pregnant with possibility and that he's looking forward to the future. And I hope that really is something that he takes with him.
Yeah. And even Lindsey, when I think about how busy we can be as parents, we rush the bedtime, we rush the bath, right? Everything's on a schedule. We got to get them in the bed and so we can have our adult time and all the things. But this book is a reminder to me as a parent to savor, just to embrace, to take in those endearing, sweet moments, the bath time, splash a little longer, hug a little longer. Laugh a little longer, take that tenderness and sit in it because like you said, those moments are fleeting and we do, you look up and your 7-year-old's gonna be 12. I can tell you for a fact it happens. And he's bigger and he's taller but still just to sit in those sweet moments is a reminder for the child and also the reminder for the parent, slow it down, slow it down and so we can enjoy and sit in it and embrace it because it's a blessing. It's really the blessing, right?
Right. That's exactly how I feel. And that's, I think that all parents are going to be able to relate to that, and I hope that even when you're reading the books to the kids and one, especially like this, with this kind of messaging, that it will help you to slow down and lean into it and kind of sit in that space as you describe it.
And there's a few other things. Okay. These are my two other takeaways that I just was like, oh my God, this book is so great. And I think my kids are never too old to read or hear these types of books because when you go on later in the book, say you're curious about the world and everything you see from dewdrops on a flower to the buzzing of a bee, I'm inspired every day to see things through your eyes, reminding me the world is filled with wonder and surprise. I think it's so special for people to be seen and for people to be admired. And it's even more special as a parent when we can say and see, that curiosity, that dig in the dirt, that the way that you can sometimes, what some people will be agitated by. I see the beauty in your curiosity. I see the beauty in your imagination, in your fearlessness, that visibility. So to be able to see a kid and share with them like that endearment, I think is so important. And if we could pour that into every household and pour that into every every child is, specifically, of course, our Black and browns, but to pour that endearment into our children, they become so much more confident to go out and ask big questions.
You're right, and I'm thinking specifically of this was a few years ago, and I was leaving to go to work, and it was snowing that day, and I went outside and saw the snow, and I was just immediately thinking about the headache for my drive in, what that was going to mean.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, my son was standing with his hand outstretched, looking at the snowflakes on his glove, and it made me slow down. And we then started looking at the delicate, intricate designs, unique designs of the snowflakes, and that was just something that I hadn't looked at. I can't remember the last time I had seen a snowflake, really took the time to look at a snowflake. Instead I was really frustrated by all the snowfall, and it really turned into just this magical moment that we shared talking about the snowflakes. And so I think that there are so many things that as adults we stop seeing with young eyes, and we start glossing over the butterflies and the rainbows and the sunrises and sunsets. And I think that it makes us better when we're able to really think with the joy of a child's eyes and heart.
Yeah, yeah, so tender and beautiful. I tell you, I love it. And okay, this is my last major piece because I know I can't keep you forever, but this is my my last piece is what I pray and hope that readers will see that I saw was that it's a heritage piece, right? So my daughter's going to pass this to her daughter, and the pages will be ripped, and it'll have that soggy kid stickiness to it, and she'll long to get a new copy for our new moms who are figuring out the bedtime stories and all the things, right? Those heritage pieces are so powerful, and that's the legacy that you have really planted inside of this book. So I saw it as, and I see it as a really great piece that is so transferable through generations. The one that's at your grandmother's house, that sits on the counter, and who took the book? Where is it? Who got the last copy? We got to order a new copy. That book that, and that the kid grabs at bedtime is pick your books, and they go grab that. So I really see like the depth of it and the generational wealth of it. So I wanted to just celebrate that because, we all have those books in our families, and this is one of those ones that is just so warm and beautiful and endearing that I think every girl and every boy will want it read to them. Read this one to me. This is the one that makes me feel special before I go to sleep as I dream,
I hope so. I mean, I really do think that this is timeless. The way that I feel about my son and parenting certainly is not unique to me. And I imagine that it's the way that my parents felt and my grandparents felt and the neighbors at the house next door. I think that this is just kind of the process of child rearing and watching them kind of grow up before your eyes. And there is like a magical quality to that everyone gets to kind of take part in.
It's so good. And, we don't, at the end of the night, my 9:00, 8:30, well, I don't remember what it used to be for my littles. I think it was 7:38. I don't know what time that was, but anyway, none of it is when you're short of words and you've spoken all day and you've been on Zoom all day and you've had meetings all day. A book that says it all is just the one that you want to read and communicate. A book that really just pours your heart, and it leaves you speechless because it's done the job. So I really celebrate this book has done and will do the job. And we're going to give away 5 copies in our Great Girlfriend community. So Great Girlfriends, for those of you who want to have this beautiful, timeless book in your library, you can email us welcome@thegreatgirlfriends.com. And where are we buying this book, Lindsey?
Oh, wherever books are sold. So Barnes and Noble or Amazon, wherever you may go for your support your local bookstore, you can find it.
Awesome. Along with the others, because there's a collection here.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And Lindsey, my last question for you, what is your legacy? What will that be for you?
That's a good question. I really think that it's in my son. And I hope that he can kind of take the best parts of me or whatever kind of example or lessons that I'm so feverishly and eagerly trying to, impart in him. I think that I just, I pour it all into him, and I'm hoping that he'll catch some of it. And however that manifests for him, that doesn't need to translate by his profession or whatever. But I think that it's him being able to have joy, and that's not, I do think that that's something different from being happy, because, happiness is often determined by your circumstances in the outward way. And I think that joy comes, from the inside out. And so I hope that he'll grow up feeling that he's enough, right? And feeling confident in himself and joyful. And I think that is what I hope. This is what I think about immediately when it comes to legacy. And there may be some other places that it kind of branches into with regard to news and in the industry, but most immediately I think of the impact of my son.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. That's so powerful. So powerful. And last but not least, where can our great girlfriends keep up with you, Lindsey?
Sure. Linsey T. Davis on Instagram, or Linsey Davis on Twitter. I have a website as well, lindseytdavis.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lindsey.
Thank you, Sybil. Pleasure to talk to you.
Great girlfriends, did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast, into the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group, The Great Girlfriends. You follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at @the_great_GFS. Last but not least, we'd like to thank my amazing husband, Kwaku, Sam and Dilly, and all of you for being a part of the global community that makes us so strong. Please remember to share with your friends. Keep listening and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil Amuti, and I'm out. Peace.